What Jesus looks like, what do you see? Robe, crown of thorns, beard, Jesus's, maybe a halo? But what color is his skin? Today's baggage, white Jesus. It's no secret that Jesus Christ, known in Christian circles as the Son of God, is often depicted as a white man with long, luscious locks. But how did Jesus ever become so widely accepted as being white? Films, TV, even cartoons have been pushing this representation. And we can't forget when Megyn Kelly brought Jesus into her infamous Santa meltdown.
I mean, Jesus was a white man too, but you know, it's like...
Slow your roll. From what I can remember of my Sunday school days, the Bible stories take place in what is now called the Middle East. I chatted with Professor Carrie Day, an associate professor of constructive theology and African American religion at Princeton, to help me figure out where I should begin. How was Jesus physically described in the Bible?
We really don't see any depiction sort of phenotypically of what Jesus looks like in the biblical text. And that was intentional. I think that it's important to note that in the early Christian communities, there was actually an avoidance of putting images of Jesus. In general, images of God were seen as idolatry.
But we do know that in the Bible, Jesus' feet are compared to burnished bronze.
However you fall on what Revelation means, we already have clues. The first clue is that he was a Jewish man. They were nomadic people. Part of the misnomer is that a Jew is a Jew that phenotypically looks like a European Jew. And we tend to sort of ascribe that to the way Jesus looked and who Jesus was. But instead, what I'm suggesting is that you had all of these diverse diasporas, many of them that were Afro-Asiatic, that in many ways then helps us to reflect on Jesus in our contemporary language as a person of color.
So, Jesus might not be a white dude? This is a touchy subject, a hotly contested debate. Scholars, lay people, no one seems to agree. With all this Jesus speaking parables, I found myself having a tough time. So I called on someone who was called on by the Lord. Gary V. Simpson is the head pastor of the Concord Baptist Church of Christ. He's also an associate professor of homiletics.
When you want to sound important, it's just saying I'm the preaching professor, you say I teach homiletics.
Simpson was the son of a preacher, but coming up, he was pretty clear on what he believed Jesus looked like.
I never really got caught up in the kind of dominant whiteness of Christ. I know that there were depictions of the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus in places because those were the people who were publishing the materials that we were reading in our local Sunday schools.
Can you just elaborate a bit on that, how we sort of came to have this widely accepted depiction?
I don't know how widely accepted it is. I think it is Westernly accepted. When we read the Bible and the expansion of Christianity, we're actually talking about its Western movement.
Y'all know what he's talking about. That saying, to the victor goes the spoils. Let's go all the way back to the 4th century. Here's how it went down. Constantine, an emperor in ancient Rome, converted to Christianity. Later, it was legalized and became the official religion of the Roman Empire.
Hallelujah!
Christians were no longer persecuted. This changed the entire game. As the Roman Empire expanded, so did its ideologies and cultures. And of course, the dominating representation of a European white Jesus.
From those moments on, expansion of this idea, we even talk about classical music or classic periods of art. We're really talking about Western period.
And Western like white.
And Western like white, yeah.
But the earliest paintings of Jesus popped up around the 3rd century CE. This is a couple of centuries after Jesus lived. So I hit up an art scholar who could take us back in time. This is Dr. Pamela Patton. She's the director of the Index of Medieval Art at Princeton University. So how did those illustrations look? Can you describe them for us?
A lot of them, especially the very, very early ones, were quite subtle. And this is because they emerged when Christianity was still not officially legal in the Roman Empire.
So initially, since Christianity wasn't legal, artists had to be discreet with their work. Fast forward to the 4th and 5th century, Christianity became the official Roman religion. Remember that whole spiel about Constantine?
That's when you begin to see more imperial, royal images of Christ. You see, enthroned figures. You see the sort of bearded philosopher type being brought in. So in